following professional wrestling exhibition requires discretionary viewer participation.
Good evening, RWL fans all over the world. Don Hickson, Christy Ogilvie, and Myron Schimmelman here with you for RWL Rage this evening in Fairfax, Virginia. And Myron, gotta admit, this new system of yours has put together some excellent matchups.
And it's gonna keep doing that. Good evening, everyone. How we doing tonight? Don, when you look at tonight's lineup, you'll see I've made some significant changes, and it's great.
Hi, everybody. Yes, gents, I am ready to have my world rocked by this week's Rage card, and I'm seriously looking forward to Coliseum games next week. But more about all that goodness as we move along down honey.
Right, QR Christy, and we begin tonight with our opening contest of ladies division match involving Dakota Kai of the Future Endeavors, set to lock it up one-on-one with the ladies Southern champion Brenda Blair.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
And so we go to ringside and ring announcer Aria Mitchell.
Good evening, Fairfax, and welcome to RWL Rage. The first match, scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle from Auckland, New Zealand, representing the Future Endeavor here is Dakota Kai.
Almost refreshing to see Dakota taking point tonight. She's been letting Blair Davenport Carmella and Gigi Dolan take the lead so much lately that Dakota kinda got lost in the sauce. But she's back tonight and facing Brenda in a non-title match. That could mean something to Dakota down the road if she can pick up a win over the ladies Southern champ without the belt being in play.
And I'll tell you, she might be able to do it. She hasn't exactly been sitting on her laurels while she's been resting up. She's been training too, knowing full well she's gonna face Brenda Blair.
I love Brenda's music. Gets me pumped.
Her opponent from San Jose, California, she's the RWL Ladies Southern Champion, Brenda Blair.
It was a quiet struggle for Brenda Blair for most of 2025, but the end of the year between fall and winter, Brenda Blair had a splendid end of the year, sporting both the Ladies Northern and Ladies Southern championships. But she still holds the Ladies Southern title. Right there you see it. And Brenda Blair is determined to hang on to it, even though she's got a rematch upcoming with powerhouse Patty Powers at Coliseum Games.
And she's concerned about Patty Powers, of course she is. But she's also keen on keeping that belt. And it's also what this match with Dakota Kai's about. She's got a thing against the Future Endeavor, I don't know.
She has kinda had a chip on her shoulder lately, right?
Well, fans, Brenda Blair promised her fans something special this evening, and I do believe that is it. Some rather revealing new ring gear as Willie Johnson sounds the bell. Brenda opens up with a chop but gets quickly taken down by Dakota Kai, a double stomp to the midsection and an immediate pin. One, no. Far too early. They lock up again. A heel kick from Dakota Kai to Brenda Blair. Brenda whipped to the far left corner. Whoa! It was a wicked little step kick right there from Dakota Kai. A series of short staccato kicks and Brenda Blair's face slammed into the mat and another double stomp right to the midsection of Brenda Blair. Brenda opens up with a set of chops and a kick and a spin kick, taking Dakota Kai down to the canvas. Dakota Kai catches a lower belly stomp, and I do mean lower, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa! An elbow right to the back of the head from Brenda Blair. who has suddenly turned this match around. Kick to the midsection from Dakota Kai. Brenda counters with a kick to the leg. Locks up Dakota, whips her out over the top rope, out onto the floor, slides out after her in hot pursuit. Brenda Blair definitely getting a reaction from the fans with her new ring gear. A set of chops and a hard right hand taking Dakota Kai down to the canvas. Dakota Kai quickly back up again, hurling Brenda Blair into the barricade. Blair gathered up by Dakota Kai. Oh, head first into the ring post. And that was a nasty shot. Dakota Kai drawing the line in the sand as it were. Whoa! Right through the ropes, taking Brenda Blair down. An aggressive high-risk maneuver from Dakota Kai. Up over the shoulders, Brenda Blair countering with elbows to the side of the head of Dakota Kai. Dakota counter whips Brenda Blair towards the timekeeper's area, makes her own way back inside the ring. Willie Johnson continues to count on Brenda Blair, but she is on her way back inside. Dakota Kai with a hard right spins Brenda around, goes behind on her rear waistlock and inverted DDT, slamming the back of Brenda's head into the mat. A hard kick to the back from Dakota Kai, who has fared pretty well so far. I guess a couple of weeks rest has done her good. Brenda Blair lays her up against the ropes. Ooh, what a kick right to the face from Brenda Blair. Brenda really showing off here. Here she comes, and whoa, look at this. She sets it up, but Dakota Kai counters it into a slam. Follows up with a stomp to the face of Brenda Blair. Dakota Kai bounces off the ropes and a kick right to the face of Brenda Blair. Followed up with a stomp to the leg. Brenda Blair laid out center ring and in trouble at the hands of Dakota Kai, who has turned the momentum around to her direction again. Brenda Blair gathered up by Dakota Kai, locked up and whipped towards the ropes. Dakota ducks under. Brenda quickly puts on the brakes, delivers an elbow to the leg and a quick clothesline, followed up with a secondary clothesline, followed up with a tertiary clothesline. 3 in a row, ladies and gentlemen. Dakota Kai in the far left corner. Brenda Blair with a wicked set of slaps to the chest of Dakota Kai. Dakota countering with elbows to the midsection of Brenda Blair. Whoa, Brenda Blair definitely getting some attention with that new ring gear. Let's admit she's easy on the eyes. She most certainly is. Brenda Blair with Dakota Kai up against the ropes, a chop across the chest. The leg draped over the middle rope and a quick game of tug of war involving the left leg of Dakota Kai. Dakota whipped to the ropes. Brenda Blair with a rising knee right to the skull. And a little bit of a loser signal on the forehead of Brenda Blair to Dakota Kai. Dakota whipped over the top rope out onto the apron. A hard right hand from Brenda, followed up with a hard forearm over the top. Whoa! My! Well, a DDT out on the apron. Dakota Kai quickly back up. Both ladies missed their move. Dakota counters with a kick. Lays in a series of rights and a series of kicks, taking Brenda Blair down to the floor. The referee counting. Brenda Blair rounded up by Dakota Kai. And again driven headfirst into the ring post. Dakota Kai most aggressive in this particular matchup. Brenda Blair on the receiving end of the bad business on the outside, with the referee continuing to count. A hard right hand, a rear waist lock, and a jumping neckbreaker to Brenda Blair from Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai really dialing it up now. Brenda counters, slams her face first into the floor. Blair rounds her up, hurls her towards the barricade. And despite 2 running shots headfirst into the ring post, Brenda Blair still showing out. As Dakota Kai makes her way back inside the ring, they lock it up, collar and elbow. Brenda Blair escorts Dakota Kai to the far right corner, smashes her head into the turnbuckle. A throat chop goes behind on her. Dakota Kai countering with elbows to the midsection. Brenda Blair catches a kick, another, a third, and a kick right to the face. Down she goes, Dakota Kai. Oh, the ropes right there to save Brenda Blair from a pinfall. Dakota must start again. A kick to the midsection, halted by Brenda Blair, and whoa! A knee right to the face of Dakota Kai. Dakota, rounded up by Brenda. Up over the shoulders into the fireman's carry, but a quick counter from Dakota Kai. She escapes the move. Squirts Brenda Blair towards the ropes. A kick. Oh! A wicked kick to the midsection. She certainly felt that one, and now a boot to the throat against the bottom rope. Dakota Kai certainly dialing up the aggression against Brenda Blair. Brenda counters with a kick quickly back up on her feet. There's a stomp to the midsection of Dakota Kai. A set of wrist clutch kicks to the ribs followed up with a forearm. Dakota Kai sent spinning towards center ring. Brenda Blair gathers her up again. Hard whip to the far right corner. Here comes Brenda. There's a clothesline, another rebound off the ropes, and a forearm across the face of Dakota Kai. Brenda Blair definitely showing out this evening. Brenda takes herself to the top turnbuckle, far right corner. Dakota Kai laid out. Boom! There's an elbow across the chest, and here's a hook of the leg. 1, 2, and again, no, Dakota Kai kicking out at 2. Not sure quite how she did that. A hard right across the head from Brenda. Brenda gets a hold of Dakota Kai. Rounds her up for a pile driver, and oh, wait a minute, she just rolled out of the ring. She did not get all of that pile driver, or she would not still be active. Whoa, whoa, an elegant move from Dakota Kai. She most certainly did not catch the full effect of that pile driver from Brenda Blair. Brenda driven into the ring steps by Dakota Kai. On the outside, the referee now counting as Brenda is escorted back towards the ring, rolled back inside by Dakota. Dakota takes herself inside. A stomp to the back of Brenda Blair. And Brenda Blair looking like she's in pretty big trouble right about now. Diving crossbody off the top rope from Dakota. Here's a pin. 1, 2, and oh! Brenda Blair kicking out somehow, some way Dakota Kai. With momentum all in her favor as Brenda struggles to get up in the corner. Oh, a drop kick to the midsection. Wait, Brenda with a quick counter, a kick and a stunner. And here's a pin. 1, 2, and just like that, this one's all over. Brenda Blair picking up the win by pinfall over Dakota Kai.
Here's the time, 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And your winner, Brenda Blair.
I know Brenda hasn't exactly made a lot of friends backstage with 2 title runs and the constant wins, but you know what? She can totally back it up in that ring, and that's why she's on top of her scene. You can dislike her attitude, but you gotta respect the talent, cause that's real.
Indeed, Brenda Blair, out of the orange-colored sky, picking up a win here over Dakota Kai with that stunner. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our first match this evening. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's just getting good.
Fans, we are just getting started. More in just a moment. Well, our old friends, the Sectarians, it seems, have come out in force this evening. Eason Valak, backed up by most of Valak's court, the Sectarian ladies, facing the lightning-fast Tony Dangerous with only Mighty Molly to back him up.
Yet again, the non-believers and heretics refuse to learn the lesson.
You refuse to accept the truth of the darkness.
The next
This
match,
sick,
scheduled for 1
deluded,
15-minute time
so-called superhero, Tony Dangerous, has defied Kazmatson, and so, as punishment, the heretic will face his back. And like Patty Powers, who fell before my daughter Tiana, so too shall all your lightning-fast one let this night stand as a warning to you apostates. We are doubling our efforts and are recruiting new children into our fold. Defiance is stubborn foolishness. Watch what Alec does as we, his sectarians court, stand ringside like so many of you before. Tony Dangerous is about to experience the wrath of the sectarians.
Don't believe their lies. We are still growing and still expanding our belief in the darkness. It consumes you, but mind it, because no one can cope with the knowledge all at
They got
once.
new people. That's it. They got Jessica Goldman when she came out of the hospital. That's obviously it.
A very distinct possibility, Myron. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of Jessica Goldman since she disappeared.
Accompanied by Mighty Molly from Statinopolis, weighing 196 pounds, the lightning fast, Tony Dangerous.
These nut jobs may be all smoke and mirrors, but one thing's for sure. These people are just crazy enough for it to be damn uncomfortable. And the other thing you can't ignore is they are getting bolder and they're starting to win on a consistent basis.
Yeah, they got all those people at ringside, and that's just not, that's a recipe for disaster.
Indeed, Tony Dangerous certainly up against the odds since disrespecting Kaz Manson by defeating him last week. And now the sectarians have pulled out all the stops, the entire ladies' court, minus the Disciples of Darkness, Drew Draven and Selena Sheik. But nonetheless, you've got a whole bunch of creepy ladies out there. Mr. Valak, no less disturbing than any of his other sectarian cohorts. As this match gets underway, referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell, and here we go. Ethan Valak opens up with a couple of rights on Tony Dangerous, sets up the falling neckbreaker. Tony Dangerous catches the kick before he can stand back up. Valak flips him over. The Gothic Grappler seizing Tony Dangerous into a wheelbarrow suplex, much to the delight of his sectarian court. A very strange batch of ladies, to be sure. Tony Dangerous counters, gets back up on his feet. Off the middle rope, look at this. A wheelbarrow bulldog with a little hang time to it. The lightning fast one. With a hard right to the head of Valak, a set of kicks, a chop across the chest, another kick to the midsection. Valak suddenly getting the upper hand. There's a snap suplex to Tony Dangerous. Valak off the top rope, misses, crashes, and burns. As Mighty Molly stands by watching, Tony Dangerous missing with the rolling elbow. Valak with a drop kick that doesn't fell him. There's a kick, there's another, there's a third. The Gothic Grappler with a snap mare to Tony Dangerous and a flip over neck whip. The Gothic Grappler seems to be working the head and neck area of the lightning fast one. Valak gets a hold of Tony Dangerous, rolls him back inside the ring. Valak moves on in after him. Gathers up the lightning fast one. Tony Dangerous countering with an elbow to Valak. Another bounce off the ropes, a flying crossbody. As only Tony Dangerous can deliver it, double stomp to the midsection of the Gothic Grappler. Tony Dangerous locked up by Valak again. A kick to the gut. Valak winds up the arm. Takes Tony Dangerous for a walk and a Japanese arm drag off the top rope. Very coordinated, Ethan Valak. Here's a cover. One, but only just barely a one. Mighty Molly looking on. Tony Dangerous gathering himself up quite a crew between Mighty Molly and the Hurricane. Ethan Valak laying in the whirligig on Tony Dangerous, taking him for a spin. There's a stomp to the midsection. A hard kick to the gut. The Gothic Grappler pacing like a caged animal. Makes his way to the top turnbuckle. Tony Dangerous still laid out, but slowly getting to his feet. Mighty Molly looking very concerned. Here we go. Valak with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. The Gothic Grappler currently with the upper hand. Tony Dangerous counters, gets back up to a standing position. Valak rolls to the outside. Tony Dangerous going to follow him on out. Gets caught from behind by Valak. Winds up the arm. Look, this is not going to be good. Oh! What a bulldog. On the outside, followed up with a low drop kick to Tony Dangerous. Ethan Valak opening up on the outside, taking full advantage of the referee's count. A moonsault on the outside. Tony Dangerous rounded up again by the Gothic Grappler and bounced off the barricade. Tony Dangerous quickly evading. Ethan Valak gets a hold of the Gothic Grappler and a beautiful Inverted Hurricane Rana from Tony Dangerous. Valak catches another set of elbows from the lightning fast one. Tony Dangerous struggling with Ethan Valak on the outside, pitches him towards the ring steps but does not quite get there. The lightning fast one in over the top rope before Valak taking his leisure in the corner. Perhaps not a wise idea. Tiana disengaging the top left turnbuckle. Tony Dangerous whipped into the far right buckle, and a drop kick from Valak takes down the lightning fast one. Valak off the top rope moonsault, doesn't find the mark, finds only the logo in the center of the ring. Tony Dangerous getting out of the way of that one. Tony with a double leg snap on Ethan Valak. The referee Willie Johnson already having corrected the defective turnbuckle. Tony Dangerous going to work on Ethan Valak's center ring, keeping him off his vertical base if he can. He rounds him up to a standing position, and look at this right here. Whoa. Kicked off the middle ropes. Tony Dangerous rebounds off, and there's a little bit of a 619 from the lightning fast one. Off the top rope, lets gravity do the work. What a beautiful, beautiful crash right there for Ethan Valak. And here we go. The ladies of the sect reading Tony Dangerous, the riot act, Tiana in particular, decidedly animated. Tony Dangerous just basically warding them off. Even Molly Holly becoming very, very concerned. A stomp to the arm of the Gothic grappler. And those three ladies their eyes are all on Tony Dangerous. What a frog splash, but doesn't find the mark. Crashes and burns. Valak covers. 1, 2. But no, Tony Dangerous kicking out at about 2. And now Lolis Morella has disengaged the other turnbuckle. These three should not be permitted at ringside in these great numbers. Tony Dangerous laid up against the ropes by Valak. Valak hard whips him to the ropes, slides through the back door, and an inverted Hurricane Rana to Tony Dangerous. Ethan Valak, very fast, makes his way to the top turnbuckle. Tony Dangerous catches a crossbody splash. Here's a pin. 1, 2. But again, no. Tony Dangerous kicking out of yet another pin. Valak off the top rope moonsault, finds the mark that time. And Tony Dangerous rolls to the outside. He certainly caught all of it. The lightning fast one gathered up by Ethan Valak. There's a kick, there's a top, there's an over, and an uppercut to Tony Dangerous. Valak gets him back inside the ring. Takes a stroll past Mighty Molly. Mighty Molly backing off. Not a good thing to be around Ethan Valak on the outside. Tony Dangerous is still laid out. The referee continuing to count Valak, who's taking his sweet time about getting back in the ring. Tony Dangerous. Motion was finally starting to stir. And Valak finally making his way back inside the ring. Tony Dangerous immediately tags him with a Hurricane Rana. Valak in the far right corner. Tony Dangerous misses with the kick. Valak rebounds off the ropes. And another wheelbarrow bulldog to the lightning fast one. Face first into the canvas. Tony snaps out of it quickly. Rebounds out to the outside. Comes back on in. And Ethan Valak is taunting him. Valak catches a kick. A chop. Another chop. Tony Dangerous has him up over the shoulders in the fireman's carry. And, oh, I don't believe it. He just nailed him with his own move. The Valak driver. The lightning fast one. Sort of taunting Ethan Valak with his own move. Tony takes a walk around the middle rope, and that was beautiful. What a drop kick from the lightning fast one. Referee Willie Johnson correcting yet another defective turnbuckle. Ethan Valak rounds him up for a power slam. Very sudden. Valak staggers back, makes his way to the top turnbuckle. Tony Dangerous laid out center ring, and whoa, that was beautiful. Here's a pin. 1, 2, 3. That is going to do it. Ethan Valak with an upset win over the lightning fast one by pinfall.
Here's the time, 6 minutes and 9 seconds, and your winner, Ethan Valak.
Well, first Tiana picking up a win over Patty Powers at Snarl, and now Easton Valek with a win over the lightning fast one. And you are not wrong, Christy. The Sectarians are getting bolder, and they are starting to win on a far more consistent basis. And that is extremely disquieting. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, that is our next matchup. And coming up next, more RWL Rage right after the break. Stay with us.
And so it came to pass that the gods and goddesses of the squared circle came to clash in violent spectacle. On a day when old rivalries were settled and new rivalries were born. In the one place big enough and grand enough to hold it all, RWL Coliseum Games.
Starting Tuesday, January 27th.
Alright gang, coming up next, it's going to be the RWL Light Heavyweight Championship hanging in the balance as the Reggie Smythe, the battling Briton, defends the title against X-Pac of Bell Unlimited, backed up by Pat McAfee. It's just a joy to not see him here. Oh, look who it is, my favorite punching bag by proxy, X-Pac, accompanied by Pat McAfee no less. Whoa, it's just great having Too Short not around. But anyway, sometimes you gotta give stupid people what they want, you guys, and that's exactly what I've done here. He wanted a shot at the Light Heavyweight Championship, and I'm going to give it to him. Because I know for a fact that Sir Reggie Smythe is going to beat the brakes off him and retain the title. So I just get to watch him get beat up just for fun. One thing is certain, there will be a whole lot less cheating without Scott Bell at ringside. X-Pac's going to have to do his own dirty work if he plans on cheating to get the Light Heavyweight Championship away from Reggie Smythe, a feat which I do not think he is capable of pulling off. I mean, there's always a possibility, Don, but the odds are definitely not in Mr. Show-Off's favor over here. I'm leaning towards Sir Reggie just winning and taking it all. It's as simple as that. Myron, it sounds to me like you're taking an awful gamble just in the hopes of seeing X-Pac get beat up. What hopes? Reggie's gonna do it. And here is the whole of Team Euro. The Hungarian Hurricane Tibor Belescu, the Snarl Television Champion, the Greek Hustler Ali Alexandros, and the Light Heavyweight Champion Sir Reggie Smythe, the Man of the Hour, defending the Light Heavyweight Championship from X-Pac.
Man, I just love what Team Euro's done with themselves since Ari Alexandros joined the squad. These guys are a perfect trio in just about every way they could be. I mean, each of their individual movesets complements the other, and no two are alike. Reggie's got the boxing background, Belescu is the power component, and the Greek Hustler's got a style all his own. Can't say enough about Team Euro's progress.
Absolutely not. And two of the three members holding singles gold, and it may be just a question of time before the Greek Hustler Ari Alexandros finds his way to some championship singles gold of his own. I think that's a distinct possibility for 2026. I think Ari Alexandros is going to be a breakout star in Team Euro, just like Belescu. And Sir Reggie, well, Sir Reggie's been around forever, so that's why he's the natural leader and the captain of the squad. Team Euro putting on quite a show for the fans here in Fairfax as Sir Reggie Smythe prepares to defend the Light Heavyweight Championship from X-Pac of Bell Unlimited. Yuck, lousy bastard.
This next match, scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit, is for the RWL Light Heavyweight Championship. The challenger representing Bell Unlimited, and joined at ringside by Pat McAfee, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 221 pounds, X-Pac. His opponent joined at ringside by Ari Alexandros, and Snarl TV champion Tibor Belescu, from London, UK, weighing 207 pounds, the RWL Light Heavyweight Champion, Sir Reggie Smythe.
Well, X-Pac certainly looking down the barrel of a massive opportunity to gain the light heavyweight championship for Belt Unlimited. Willie Johnson sounds the bell. They come center ring. They lock it up, collar and elbow. Sir Reggie Smythe with the upper hand whips X-Pac into the far right corner. Smythe off the middle rope. A flying kick right to the face of X-Pac. Sir Reggie backs it up, and there's an axe kick. Taking X-Pac down to the mat center ring. Sir Reggie taking himself to the top turnbuckle here, and he goes air double boots right to the midsection of X-Pac. Pat McAfee looking rather lost at ringside. Definitely not accustomed to having to take Scott Bell's place. He could stay there for the rest of his life as far as I'm concerned. Over the top, whoa! Sir Reggie Smythe turning himself into a human cannonball and taking down X-Pac on the outside, follows it up with a knee right to the face as Ari Alexandros and Tibor Bolescu look on. There's a knee right to the face. Team Euro has become a solid unit with the addition of the Greek hustler Ari Alexandros to the mix of originally Sir Reggie Smythe and the Hungarian Hurricane Tibor Bolescu. Sir Reggie misses with the elbow. Connects with a knee. X-Pac steps out of the way, delivers a couple of kicks to the leg of Sir Reggie Smythe. Sir Reggie catches a kick right to the face, goes down center ring. X-Pac going to work on Sir Reggie Smythe. Now raining hard right hands, piston punches to the face of Sir Reggie. Smythe catches a forearm from X-Pac. And X-Pac displaying quite a bit of power here. Understanding that the light heavyweight championship is on the line. Head first into the turnbuckle goes Sir Reggie Smythe. Smythe rounded up by X-Pac, taken for a scoop slam. Up on the middle rope comes X-Pac. Sir Reggie Smythe stands up and X-Pac misses the mark by a good foot. Sir Reggie Smythe rounds him up for a snap suplex center ring, rolls it into a pin. Well, but barely even, just a one. Smythe off the middle rope moonsault right across the belly of X-Pac. Sir Reggie Smythe going topside yet again. He's going to go air on X-Pac one more time. And here it comes, and whoa, what a kick right to the face of X-Pac. X-Pac counters with a kick of his own, gets back up on his feet, delivers a stomp to Sir Reggie Smythe, backs it up a couple of steps, and there's a kick to the chest. X-Pac misses with the knee. Sir Reggie Smythe back up. A running kick takes him down to the canvas. Pat McAfee attempting to rally X-Pac, but he is definitely in unfamiliar territory. As Sir Reggie Smythe slows down the pace just a little bit, going to work on the arms of X-Pac, and follows up with a pair of knees to the lower back. Sir Reggie Smythe turning things around here and going right back into it one more time. X-Pac cannot attack in this condition and under these circumstances. And Sir Reggie Smythe knows it. And one more time with the double knees right to the back of X-Pac. Smythe again getting ready to go air. Waiting for X-Pac to stand himself up. Ari Alexandros and Bolescu excited. There's another flying kick to the face of X-Pac. A set of hard right hands, mounted punches from Sir Reggie, a stomp to the midsection. Smythe. I don't believe he's gonna try and yank his arms right off. X-Pac's gonna end up looking like the Venus de Milo after this one's all over. Smythe twisting the arm and driving the knees into the back one more time. Sir Reggie Smythe firmly in control in this light heavyweight championship matchup. There's a kick right to the head of X-Pac, who rolls to the outside. Sir Reggie Smythe misses with his move. That flying crossbody found nothing but canvas. X-Pac whips Sir Reggie out onto the apron. There's a hard right hand. There's a second. X-Pac hangs him up off the top rope. Out onto the floor he goes. And here comes X-Pac right after him. Sir Reggie Smythe waiting right there for him. Head first into the apron goes X-Pac. Sir Reggie Smythe locked up by X-Pac for a Hurricane Rana on the outside. The referee continuing to count here. Smythe. Rounded up by X-Pac. Into a scoop slam. Sir Reggie countering quickly. X-Pac again with the piston punches to the head of Sir Reggie Smythe on the outside as the referee continues to count. X-Pac finally getting Sir Reggie back inside the ring. Sir Reggie back up to a standing position, locks it up with X-Pac. He's got him up in a front cradle, has him up, hangs him up the top rope, down goes X-Pac, and Sir Reggie quickly going for a pin here. 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess that was quite sufficient. X-Pac defeated by Sir Reggie Smythe, who retains the light heavyweight championship.
Here's the time, 5 minutes and 27 seconds. Your winner and still light heavyweight champion, Sir Reggie Smythe.
Okay, so it wasn't fancy. Not every match has to end with a big fancy move.
Sir Reggie Smythe taking a shortcut here against X-Pac. Just hanging him off the top rope and pinning him for a 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, when we return our first tag team matchup of the evening, right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the first hour tonight with our first tag team matchup of the evening. It's Lex Luger and Kurt Hennig, the perfect package, joining forces against the TV Tag Champions Killer and Psycho, the Texas Hangman.
The next non-title tag team match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Approaching the ring at a combined weight of 525 pounds from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, Kurt Hennig, and from Atlanta, Georgia, Lex Luger, and together they are the perfect package.
A staple team out of the Bobby Heenan family, the perfect package, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, and the total package, Lex Luger, in their first non-title scrap against the Texas Hangman. And I gotta tell you, Don, I've never seen so many no thank yous in my office. No thank yous? When I offer people matches with the Texas Hangman, they're like, no thank you. Or, we'll get to them at some other time. That means they don't want to face them now because they're too strong.
Their opponents, with MJ Ferrantino ringside, from the Lone Star State, at a combined weight of 634 pounds, the RWL Television Tag Team Champions, Killer and Psycho, the Texas Hangman.
Let's just run down the list for fun, shall we? Since Tex Lynch introduced Texas Hangman 2.0 to the world, they've been absorbed into MJ Ferrantino's circle, clean house at last year's tag title tournament, beating out the Guns Brothers for those belts. They've only lost one non-title match since, and they put Scott Bell in a hospital for the week. I'm thinking, Myron, that maybe seeing that is why you're getting all those no thank yous, because these guys have stepped into the spotlight, fully prepared to knock down anyone trying to steal their shine.
I'll tell you what, Christy, I haven't seen a tag team like this in a long time, and I am duly impressed. Okay, I don't necessarily agree with all of their methods, but you've got to admit that Texas Hangmen are definitely the real thing.
Lex Luger starting off for the perfect package, and as per the Texas Hangman rule, Killer starting off for his team. And once again, referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell. Lex Luger charges a shoulder tackle, takes Killer down to the mat. Killer counters with a kick to the head, quickly back up. And with Lex Luger down on the canvas, drives a knee into the arm of the total package. Luger back up to a standing position, catches a right, but quickly counters Killer. Gets a hold on him. Military press. Pure power from Lex Luger, allowing Killer to drop to the mat. A stomp to the arm as Lex Luger turns it over to Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Killer back on his feet, catches a drop kick from the Perfect One, taken down to the canvas, and Hennig pins immediately. 1, 2. MJ Ferrantino rallying the troops at ringside. Mr. Perfect whips Killer to the ropes, ducks under. Here comes Killer. He leapfrogs, and a back body drop to Killer. Kurt Hennig goes to work on the head and neck area of Killer of the Texas Hangman. A non-title match with Kurt Hennig and Lex Luger Facing off against the TV Tag Champions as Lex Luger is once again brought in on the tag. Killer back up to a standing position and a quick clothesline takes him right back down again. Lex Luger going after Psycho brings him in the hard way. How about this? A hard right hand to Killer. And MJ Ferrantino perhaps taking exception to Lex Luger's handling of his merchandise. They are really getting into it. Killer rolls back into the ring, gets a hold on Lex Luger, has him up. And look at this. Oh! What a suplex from Killer. Psycho snaps out of it. Lex Luger counters with both boots, gets back up to a standing position. Psycho calling for the tag, and he gets it. Lex Luger comes around, a shoulder tackle takes him down. Both Texas Hangmen taken down here by the total package. Lex Luger, who is absolutely in control and large and in charge. Luger steps out, steps back in off the apron, locks it up. There's a whip to the ropes, and here comes Psycho. A whip to the ropes, a double team. A Dudley Death Drop, a 3D. As Psycho takes over for the Texas Hangman. Lex Luger locked up, whip to the ropes, and a kick right to the chest and a kick to the back of the head. A nasty 1-2 count. Whoa! He just dropped all his weight on Lex Luger's chest. There go your ribs. Psycho whips Luger into the Texas Hangman's corner. Here comes Killer again, and an incoming double team again. Lex Luger about to catch it from both Texas Hangmen. A little high five, a little rebound off the ropes, and double headbutts to both rib cages. Well, now, Killer resuming the attack on Lex Luger, who might want to consider tagging in Curt Hennig, and he certainly has. Mr. Perfect moves on in. There's a couple of hard rights. And another dropping Killer to the canvas. Killer shoves him back. Drop kicks Lex Luger on the way out. And over the top, but does not find the mark. Curt Hennig just sidesteps him, and a set of driving knees to the chest of Killer on the outside, with the referee initiating the count. Mr. Perfect collides with Killer. Killer tags him with the right. Rounds him up over the shoulder. Mr. Perfect with a quick counter and an inverted DDT to Killer. A hard right hand. A fireman's carry. Mr. Perfect picking up where Lex Luger left off. Firmly in control of the Texas Hangman at the present time. Mr. Perfect hurling Killer back inside the ring, takes the long way around, but here comes Psycho on the tag. A running kick to the face, drops Curt Hennig, a rebound off the ropes, a beautiful crossbody. Here's a pin, 1, 2. That was a beautifully executed crossbody. Psycho locks it up with Mr. Perfect, headfirst into the turnbuckle he goes. Curt Hennig whipped out of the corner, and a beautiful kick right to the side of the head. Psycho rallying the fans here in Fairfax as Lex Luger comes in on the tag, takes him down quickly. Lex Luger extremely aggressive in this match. There's a kick to the chest of Psycho. A stomp to the lower abdomen from Lex Luger. Luger rounds him up by the throat, both hands, and tosses the big 300-pounder halfway across the ring. A running kick to the face from Psycho to Lex Luger. As Killer is brought in on the tag again, the Texas Hangman trying to turn things around here. There's a cheap shot. Psycho drops Lex Luger to the outside. Turns his attention to Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect counters him, but an enziguri takes Perfect down to the floor. The referee now counting the total package. Lex Luger, as Killer is brought back in on the tag. The Texas Hangmen certainly have turned things around rather quickly. Lex Luger back on his feet and back inside the ring now. Killer mocking him. Lex Luger rounds him up for a front cradle. Slams his back into the turnbuckle and tosses him towards center ring. Quickly going for a cover here. 1, 2, no. Just a 1. Killer rounded up by Lex Luger for a backbreaker. Lex Luger firmly in control again as he tries to turn things around. What a matchup we've got going here between the Perfect Package and the Texas Hangman. Lex Luger putting the boots to the hands and fingers of Killer. Turning his attention away and tagging in Mr. Perfect. A running kick to the face takes Curt Hennig down to the canvas. Here's a quick pin from Killer. 1. But barely just a 1. Curt Hennig still far too strong. Hennig whipped to the Texas Hangman's corner. Slant turned around and a hard shot to the back. Killer turns him around yet again. Drapes the leg over the middle rope. Delivers the kick to the calf. Mr. Perfect hobbles out of the corner. There's a set of shots from Killer. Mr. Perfect rounded up over the... Oh my. What a nasty way to deliver a pile driver. And now the boots being put to the Perfect one. The Texas Hangman quickly regaining control of this situation here as Killer gets ready to warm up something bad for Mr. Perfect. A running... Whoa, he missed it. Mr. Perfect must have ducked out of the way at the perfect time, literally. Here's a neck breaker from Killer to Mr. Perfect. And here comes Psycho on the tag as Mr. Perfect rolls to the outside. The referee starts to count on him. Lex Luger countering Psycho. Counter Psycho a second time. Mr. Perfect back on his feet, making his way back into the ring, but down goes Lex Luger. Psycho turns around, drives a knee into the head of Mr. Perfect. The Texas Hangman turning things around in this matchup yet again. Mr. Perfect whipped into the Texas Hangman's corner. He counters with an elbow, spins Psycho around and into a sleeper hold. Just about center ring. But a jawbreaker disengages Mr. Perfect from Psycho. He locks him up. Has him up over the shoulders in a fireman's carry. Lex Luger finally back at his tag corner. Mr. Perfect hung up off the top rope. And here's a pin. 1, 2. But Mr. Perfect kicking out of that one. Psycho really letting Curt Hennig have it. Not just a beating, but a verbal tongue lashing as well. Perfect whipped into the Texas Hangman's corner. One more time he counters. He goes after Killer. Swings and misses. Psycho rounds him up for a military press drop. And down crashes Mr. Perfect. Into the corner he goes one more time. Here's a tag. And a double team incoming. Another one, another 3D from Mr. Perfect. The Texas Hangman again resuming control. Look at this. He's going after anybody with a pulse. Mr. Perfect rounded back up. He quickly gets the upper hand over here, and there it is, the Perfect Flex with a pin. 1, 2. That could have been it right there. But a kick out at 2 from Killer. Killer whipped into the corner of the Perfect package. There's a kick to the midsection from Curt Hennig and grinding the face against the top rope. Curt Hennig rounds him up for a vertical suplex. And Killer seems to be having his difficulties as Lex Luger comes in and tries to keep the momentum going for his side. Curt Hennig looking on as Lex Luger drags Killer towards center ring. Killer slowly trying to make his way to a standing position. Winds up the arm, slams down Lex Luger face first into the canvas. Killer, one more time, into the Texas Hangman's corner. He's going to take this one himself. Whoa, a double rebound off the ropes and a spinning punch to Lex Luger. Killer whips Luger once more into the Texas Hangman's corner. There's a kick to the ribs. There's a second. There's a third, and out comes crashing Lex Luger. Oh, man, the Texas Hangmen are fired up. Luger on the outside apron. Back to a standing position. And, oh, he is about to catch it. 10 sharp punches to the chest. And when that is over, he's going to go collapsing to the floor. And there it is, number 10, and down goes Lex Luger. Killer turning his attention to Mr. Perfect, tags him with a right, tags him with a second right. Decides he's had enough and turns it back over to Psycho as Lex Luger finds his way back to a standing position. Psycho standing right there waiting for him. Lex Luger rounds him up into the torture rack. Possible submission here. That was a big mistake. Psycho missed out by delay, but he is tagging. Lex Luger with shots to the head gets himself out of that torture rack. Luger rounded up again for another military press drop from Psycho. And once more, the Texas Hangman turning things around. Psycho targeting Luger. Swings and misses again. Lex Luger sidesteps him, but here's a quick kick to the midsection. Luger whipped to the Texas Hangman's corner one more time. Now a set of driving knees into the midsection of Lex Luger. Down he goes into a seated position into the corner. There's a boot to the chest. There's a second. And Lex Luger catching the full weight of Killer all the way up, and double knees right into the chest. MJ Ferrantino loving what he's seeing right here. Here's a pin and a hook of the leg. 1, 2. But Kurt Hennig right there to break that one up. Lex Luger struggling to get himself stood up, and Mr. Perfect catches an elbow to the throat. Lex Luger with a clothesline. An overhand right. Swings and misses with another. Gets a hold. And a shoulder tuck. Lex Luger extremely aggressive in this matchup. You really got to hand it to him. Lex Luger catches a flying punch off the ropes. Here's a pin. 1, 2, 3. That is going to do it. The Texas Hangman defeating the Perfect Package by pinfall.
Here's the time, 7 minutes and 53 seconds. And your winners, the Texas Hangman.
We'll chalk up another one for Killer and Psycho. I can expect a lot more no thank yous in my office when I go setting up the next set of matches for Snarl.
The Texas Hangman picking up a solid win over the Perfect Package by pinfall. And yes, indeed, Killer and Psycho have made quite an impact. That concludes the first hour of tonight's RWL Rage. Ladies and gentlemen, we will return with the second half right after the break.